Welcome back to another episode of Walking on the Cloud with Marco. Today I want to fulfill a promise that I made to one of my subscribers, and I'm going to talk about what it's like to work for different types of businesses, like well-established enterprises where you're just an ant in a farm, and then I'm going to talk about startups, and I'm going to talk about your SMBs that I've worked with in the past. So you might not know, my beginnings my IT beginnings start in computer repair. Right? I used to do summer jobs with some computer repair facilities, and then I took that experience and got a job as a service technician. And then in that job I worked for a large enterprise, and I was able to quickly learn a lot of new stuff. They sent me out to courses. I could do the courses. I was an CompTIA A+ certified technician, and I was able to repair their own stuff, right? So that sort of kicked off my career in IT. I was able to learn a lot there, and I found that one thing I'd never refused was any kind of training, right? If I was asked, do you want to go do this training? Do you want to learn this new thing? I would always be a yes man for that. Success, I think, does come through training, through education, through learning about new things, right? Now, you might learn things that you will never use. You might learn things that will never be useful, but essentially having the ability to learn something shouldn't be taken for granted. And if you have a big enterprise, that's one big benefit, right? With a big enterprise, you're able to request training budgets, you're able to choose your own training. You might have like a palette of choices on the table, and you're gonna go in a certain direction. But for example, I have friends that have made their way through enterprises from basically working at the lowest possible position to now being experts on specific units, supporting customers that have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend with that vendor. And it's something that you can do with an enterprise environment, right? But the thing about enterprises, the thing about giant companies is you need to stand out. So how are you going to stand out? This is the question to you. If you want to work in an enterprise environment, there are many opportunities. There are many ways to advance your career. There's usually even a career advancement path that you get given when you are interviewing for this kind of company. So that is one huge benefit of working for an enterprise. Now, as I said, you need to stand out. That's the drawback, right? You're just a number. If your business has 30,000 employees, it has 100,000 employees, how are you gonna make a change, make a difference, right? And this has a lot to do with a lot of interpersonal relationships. You can be a technical genius, right? You can be an expert at learning, you can be an expert at anything, but if you don't have the interpersonal relationships, if you don't know how to grease the wheels of the business that you're working in, you're not going to get far, right? And greasing the wheels might mean being friendly with your colleagues, cooperating in teams well, being friendly with your managers. Having a good relationship with your managers definitely helps. Each enterprise that you work in is going to have a different way of greasing the wheels. Everything from just a good relationship down to basically having to do whatever they ask you to do, getting coffee for your boss, which, I think everybody should be getting their own coffee. Fire me if you want to, Marco. You should get your own coffee. I do get my own coffee, so basically I'm getting my boss's coffee. All right. Now, that, of course, is simplified when we're talking about small businesses, right? When you're talking about small businesses, the structure usually flattens, right? And even enterprises are now doing this sort of hierarchy, flatter hierarchy, right? Big enterprises are saying like we've gone down to like 5 levels or maybe 7 levels or whatever the magic number for that business is. So if you're working for a small business, your worth, your knowledge, your ability to stand out is going to be much higher, right? So you're going to be able to prove your worth much easier. But the problem is you might not have the career advancement path that you will have in an enterprise, right? So that's definitely a trade-off. Now, in one of my previous videos, I was talking about how you should be looking for cloud jobs in sectors that are not glamorous, right? Those sectors that are not glamorous are usually also small businesses, right? Or it could be an enterprise, but it's in the wrong industry. It's like, you know, it's in the food and beverage industry, it's in the automotive industry. Those jobs are not considered glamorous as far as cloud jobs are concerned, right? Everybody who works for a cloud, everybody who wants to work in cloud thinks that, oh, I need to get a job with Google, I need to get a job with Amazon, I need to get a job with all of these big brand names, I need to get a job with Microsoft, IBM, HP, whoever. Doesn't matter, right? You don't need to get a job there, right? You can get a really good start in where there's a really high need right now, and that will be small businesses. That will be sort of environments that are not considered glamorous. Healthcare, right? Healthcare has a huge move to cloud services, and of course the healthcare jobs for admins are not super glamorous, right? They're not paid well either. But if you just want experience, which is the most important thing to advance your career, you got to swallow that pill. You got to take the job at a small business. You'll be able to excel fast and you'll be able to prove your worth fast. But you know, the reality is you'll be leaving that company, right? When you go in, always have an exit plan, whomever you're working for. And then finally, I want to talk about startups. Now, startups are great because if you get in early, you know, you can get a good relationship going on. You can lead the way in a startup. You can design, you know, the whole backing infrastructure. You can design services. You can design procedures. From an IT standpoint, you have a lot of flexibility if you're a sort of cloud individual and you're getting a job in a startup. You'll probably be learning about other things like business processes, system optimizations, accounting, and all other kinds of stuff along the way, because there's just not enough people to, at the beginning of a startup, to be able to do all the work, right? And if that startup succeeds, you know, you're going to reap the rewards. Definitely there's huge rewards if a startup succeeds and gets some venture capital, right? There will be financial benefits to you, but there's also a high level of risk, right? So if you're in a position where you think you can get a job fairly quickly, if the startup fails, even in a situation like we are in now, right? Right now, when in the middle of the lockdown, we're in the middle of the corona crisis, the whole globe is halted, all the world's businesses have halted to a stop. And if you feel that you can get a job right now, then you can take a job at a startup, try it out, see how it fits, see how it feels for you. Now, the age groups are also important factors in startups, right? A lot of startups will have younger age groups. Even when I was working for a startup, I was sort of in my sort of early middle age, right? And I felt I'm getting too old for this thing, right? Even though, you know, when you're in your 30s, you're still young, right? But the people around me were in their 20s, right? So I had to adapt to the lifestyle, right? Nothing wrong with that, but it's something that you need to also consider, right? An enterprise, a small business, and a startup, those three will have three different lifestyles attached to working with that business, right? You need to consider the social factor. You need to grease the wheels, as I said before. You need to be able to understand that it's work and life do mix, do sort of interact with each other, and you will have to understand that if you're not ready to, you know, go back and party like you're in your 20s, then the startups are not for you. That could be your deciding factor. Anyway, that is my rant for today for walking on the cloud. I'm gonna thank Dražen for his request for me to do this video, and yeah, it was a great idea, and I think I want to have more ideas. So if anybody has any more ideas, definitely reach out, comment, so that we can have more ideas. By the way, I have to mention that on Monday I'm starting my challenge series, which is going to be tied to AWS. AWS challenge series is if you are certified or if you want to be certified, there will be nice challenges that I will be giving out at the end of each video, and whoever wins the challenge, whoever gets the answer correct, right, will be able to win a nice prize. And of course, prizes are going to be available only to my subscribers. So this is the first time that I'm actually going to ask you to subscribe. If you want to be in the challenge, I will definitely ask you, please subscribe, and I will see you on my next video, walking on the cloud with Marco. Bye.